my name is ELIDÉ Sanchez, and this is my sister.
Nella Suarez.
And this is Hermanas and Resilencia. And the first topic that we're going to be speaking on, spirit murderers and spirit protectors. I wanted to speak on that with my sister because she's here living in Mexico and I'm living in the States, so it's pretty interesting, the differences that we've encountered in our different lives as some spirit protectors.
Yeah, so I feel it's like a really cool topic, and I feel that it's cool that schools or the school systems actually like doing classes like this. Back in the days, you wouldn't find them, um, we have a good friend in common, Mr. Jose Medina, which is like one of these activists that fought for high schools to have Chicano studies in every class and well in every generation, so we know how important it is, like that nowadays there's spaces for us to talk about this. So I think it's really important. And there are a lot of spiritual killers. People think that like genocide and all this has to be like physical or like violently directed, and then there's a lot of things that go on between the borders, between the States and Mexico, and especially with all this wave of racism that's going on in the States right now. I feel it talks more about the harm it does in the spirit of the people. We can talk about racism, how that can be directed or indirected. That can be like a spiritual form. Then we have like I think it was like the late '60s, like all this wave of like women getting surgeries for them not to have babies, like all the Latina women, and like imagine all the spiritual genocide going on there, because maybe they weren't physical babies, or maybe they weren't pregnant yet, but they were like already taking away the from them, like their freedom to be moms or to decide over their bodies.
That, and it's like, okay, being a spirit protector in our culture, it's like, okay, well, aside from that, when I was like reading up on this subject and why it interested in me, is because when I thought spirit protector, I thought about you.
Hey.
Because a spirit protector is somebody that is there for their community, is present, cares, like intentionally cares about other people and how they're living their lives, how they're being affected by the system, the school system, the healthcare system, artists, musicians, and how we can like intertwine and help each other build our community to be stronger. And I feel that being a spirit murderer, it's more, I feel that more people in our culture maybe can encounter spirit murderers more than spirit protectors, depending on like who. Oh, hummingbird. See, spirit protector right
Spirit protector right there.
I feel that maybe, for my opinion, I feel that a lot of people might encounter more spirit murderers in our culture than spirit protectors. I'm lucky that I know a lot of spirit protectors, but I also know a lot of spirit murderers. Like, and it sounds really intense, like being a spirit murderer, but it's true. It's like, a lot of my family are spirit murderers, but they don't know that they're spirit murderers.
I was gonna say it's crazy because people don't know. Like there's like a lack of knowledge and a lack of consciousness about to where this comes. And if we go way back in time, like right now everybody's very proud to be Mexican because of this wave. But like 10-15 years ago,
Yeah.
people would like deny even being able to speak English, I'm sorry. And a lot of our parents, or a lot of the families that went like from back generations, they had this like, you have to be American to fit in, to get a good job. You have to speak English. You have to do this. You have to do that. So when your generation is born, it's families that are like, okay, no, it's Americanized for them to fit in, like whitewashed for them to fit in, for them to get a good opportunity in life, for them not to work in the fields, for them So I feel that this is something that comes from like back in the days, and a lot of people are just not even conscious about this. Like if you talk to a lot of people, like you explain to them about like the stolen territories and stolen land, they're like, no, but they don't know.
Oh my God, wait, speaking on this, the other day, because I work at a restaurant, right? I didn't tell you about this yet. So so I went to the table, right? And there was like these two older Mexican guys. They were probably in their 60s. And we were talking and whatever. He started like talking about how he thinks it's like stupid that the young Latinos, Latinas are like going back to being like, oh, proud of where they come from. He's like, nah. I thought it was stupid because I brought up that I'm taking this class and I was really proud to be taking this class, and I didn't expect him to react that way. I thought he was gonna be like, oh, good, mija, you're going to school. And then he was like, wow, why are you gonna take that chingadera class? Like, he was just like, what's the? He's like, I came to this country to get away from all of that. So now I think it's so stupid that the younger generation that's all about this. Well, you don't know what we've been through to come here and to have a safe life. And it's like the thinking of like being ashamed of where you came from just because your experience here was probably not, safe, I guess.
Yeah.
But also, why take away the pride from where you come from?
Exactly, because that's what makes you at the end. But it's funny because like I don't even blame him for that. It's like a whole system that has been dedicated all this whole time to make people feel that way. Like if you go on Netflix, all the Mexican shows, everybody's like has to do with the narcos. Like all the women are prostitutes. Like Selena, like it's like they're just like very like to the toxic side of. And if you really see it, every single part of the world, every single fucking country has this good side and has this bad side. But like in the States, I feel that they only portray like the bad things. Like for example, right now that you were gonna come, it was like, oh, it's super dangerous. Oh, you're gonna get kidnapped. Oh, da 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 da. And it's just like, no, it isn't like that. Like obviously there's parts of Mexico that are in dispute with like the narco, and there's parts of Mexico that are in this. But at the end, overall, Mexico's like very safe and very cultural. And you've seen it like in this time around with Jed. Like even though he doesn't speak English, I mean Spanish,
My boyfriend.
like the community welcomes him, like, oh, güero, this, and like it's like, and it's nice to see that, that he can go home with that different idea of how he thought it was going to be. But going back to the topic of like spiritual like genocide, it's like how they take away the beauty of what we are. I'm very lucky that I was born here in Mexico City, and then I've traveled quite a bit. But like in my house, there was always a rule. Like when we lived in Portugal, it's like you can speak Portuguese from the door out. And when we lived in the States, it was like you can speak English from the door out. Like, or if you want to learn any other language, it's from the door out. In this house, en esta casa, se habla español. Like it was always about that. So I'm like, when I was like younger and growing up, I thought that was like a bitch, because it was like, like grandma, like qué pedo, and she was like, no, en español, like. And then I have like a mixed culture because like my mom's family side is from Venezuela, and then on this side I'm Mexican. So it was like very cultural. And then my grandma, she was like always very strict on speaking Spanish.
It's like a cultural war. It's like, what do I do?
What do I do? And I remember like, for example, like over there in Miami, I was raised in Miami. Like I always thought Miami was like a very like multicultural, very open mind. It is. I mean, they have more people like from Venezuela, from Colombia, from Cuba, from this, and I always thought it was like more inclusive because I didn't know anything. But then like when I moved to LA older, I was like, damn, like it's super racist in fucking Miami.
In Miami?
Yeah, I made the comparison. I was like, whoa, like there's like so much lack of knowledge in general. Like right now we're speaking obviously on Mexicans, but por ejemplo, I can tell you that in like the same thing happens to them, like to Puerto Ricans that come, to Cubans that come, to like Venezuelans they come. It's just like they try to erase their identity to make them what we are. And then something else that I noticed this time around that I went like a little bit older and I moved over there is like once you get to the States, they make sure they divide you. Like it's like Mexicans aquí, Salvadoreños allá, don't talk to the Guatemalans because the Guatemalans like da da da, and it just makes sure that everybody's like divided.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like, okay, you come to the States and majority, I mean, I don't know the percentage, but like a majority of people become spirit murderers.
Yes.
Not on purpose.
Not on choice, but
it's like a trauma that, and then this generation gets it through their teachers, teaching the way that they teach. There's a lot of teachers. I like my teacher, but like there's a lot
She's
of
trying
teachers,
to get a name.
There's a lot of teachers that give up on their students. I used to work at a high school, and I worked with a lot of teachers that like they legit just gave up on their students, and a lot of those students were black and brown students, and they would just, be like, oh, I would say, do you want me to help you with it? Like, because I would look at the class and see that none of these kids were learning. They were all on their phones. They were going out, going to the bathroom to go see their friends. There was no learning happening, but there was also no connection from the teacher to the student. And a lot of the teachers that I worked with were old and white. I remember I worked with this chemistry teacher. He retired already. We got along. Him and I really got along. But I could see the disconnection he had with the students. Like, he would come into class and be like, do whatever you guys need to do. If you guys are missing on assignments, then go ahead. He gave up on them. I would ask him, like, oh, you don't want me to help them? Like, I can walk around. And he's like, they're not gonna listen anyways. They're gonna get on their phones. Just these students don't listen. And it's literally all brown kids in there, and listening to this old white guy. And it's there's that disconnect in school, and him not realizing he's being a spirit murderer, because he's not of our culture, but to be conscious of that fact that you have the opportunity to uplift these kids in the school system, it's not there. But then it trickles down to this school systems are failing the teachers. So it's a trickle effect. It's not,
It is.
it's not their fault. It's just it's knowing, being conscious, and learning about these topics.
It is, and maybe it doesn't really have to do with us as Latinos, but when I was working in Hollywood Boulevard, I remember when I put that, I do henna tattoos, and I'm an artist as well, and I put a sign up that said free hennas for free Palestine, right? And I was just giving out hennas, and I made these cool designs and whatever. And then one of these designs, it says teach peace, teach through peace, and a lot of people would come and be super positive about it, oh, that's cool that you're doing this, da da da. But then some people would just be like, no, do you know what they are, da da da. And I was like, do you see the tattoo in the middle? It says teach through peace. I'm just opening up a space for people to be able to talk. But when would you explain to them and be like, oh, this is what I'm doing, I'm teaching through peace and open up spaces with art, for people to at least create empathy. I'm not saying, fuck this, fuck that. It's just create empathy as human beings. I feel that that's something that as humanity we're lacking, and I feel that art in any form, with paintings, with muralism, with music, with poetry, with acting, with cinema, with all this, it can be such a big influence just to open doors for knowledge.
One of the people that has taught me that me being an artist, when I first met you, I was trying to figure out what I was doing with my art, and I feel that the intentionality that you put into everything helped me put that into my art. But helped me realize that I'm a spirit. I have the potential and the consciousness to be a spirit protector instead of a spirit murderer.
Yeah.
So our second topic is going to be about music and identity. One question that I wanted to ask you is, how does music shape personal and cultural identity, and what role does it play in influencing the way you perceive yourself or others in your community?
Ooh, I think this is so important. It's such an important subject, because kind of going back and forth with the topics because they're intertwined. It's there's music that uplifts and music that that brings down.
That brings the lower vibration.
Exactly. For example, there's this band that I like, Chicano band. They're called the Cafeteras.
Oh, I like them.
Dude, they're bomb. And they make sure to just give the right dose of Chicano-ness, of Mexicanness, and they make this beautiful, beautiful balance of what this culture is, because a lot of people are oh, out here in Mexico, oh, Chicanos are not Mexican, and over there, Mexicans, da da da.
Yeah.
And at the end, it's I feel that being a Chicano is just the perfect amount of both.
Mm-hmm.
It's the perfect balance of both cultures.
Yeah.
And for example, them they motivate me a lot. That actually it's been funny because out here in Mexico City, I've gone to different events and they play them a lot out here in Mexico City, the Cafeteras.
Cafeteras?
Yeah, they play them out here a lot. And it's important that we have this, a lot of people are going to hate me because of this. For example, I don't like corridos tumbados.
You don't?
I don't. I like how they sound, but I don't like the content because it's
They
once
talk
again
about like the subjects of
it's once again
violence.
it's like it's part of like the violence and the violent part of like the Mexican. We do have it, you know, like our Aztecs used to sacrifice people all the fucking time. We do have that,
but it's like highlighting those negative things.
Exactly.
Crazy that you bring that up. Is one of the links that I had in my class to study was corridos, and like how it affects our community or how it like highlights our community. But then I was reading into it, and it's like inevitable because it's just like hip hop, where being an artist, being a musician, you have to speak your truth, and your truth, if it's violence, and
you know
violence, drugs, you're speaking like Chalino Sanchez, like I know, me too. And
he's bomb.
Yeah.
Listen to him.
Well, that's what we were talking about in class, like. And then there's actually a documentary I had started watching, which was kind of like weird because it was right before that subject that we talked about in class. I was watching this documentary on him, and then it was talking about his life growing up and how like he shot somebody that like raped his sister or something, and then he like wrote a song about it, or like his first journey to LA, his experience like maneuvering all of this and going back into like selling drugs, and it's like then that gets popular, and then people view our culture as that.
Just that. But you know what's like really cool? Like now that I came like to Mexico City, I've been working like with this immigrant house. It's Casa Tochan, and it's cool because I get to like listen to a bunch of stories of immigrants that come like from the south, and like from Guatemala, from Salvador, and like how they ride like the bestia, like you know that train. And I've been there. I didn't tell you like
the
last
bestia?
month.
What is that?
Yeah, like la bestia, es el tren that travels like from South America, like from like the beginning to like the States.
Really?
So they get on top of like the train and then like clandestinos, and then that's how they hit like they
from South America.
Yeah, like,
but isn't there like a section of where Panama is where it's like you can't even? It's like a whole forest. You can't even get.
But then like they, for example, they cross through that forest. Like, dude. It would have been cool, like, for you to, like, interview some of them. Like, they tell you some crazy stories.
You've met some of them?
That's the house where I did that mural, Casa Tochan.
Oh, wow.
Like, they stay there. So I get to, like, talk to them and listen to all the stories. That would have
been cool if you would have documented, like, video and then, like, made a little documentary.
It would have been.
You could still do that.
I could still go there. Like, it would have been cool. We should have gone to get my spray paint.
Well, anyways. I come back, I'll be back.
And then, for example, like, where the Bestia passes by in Estado de Mexico, there's, like, a big immigrant house right there. And with Julian, we went to the immigrant house. We went to see some things, and like we saw the bestia pass by, like with a bunch of people on top of them, like that. It's like, it was like so crazy. And for example, something that I was talking to them, it's like how music gives them the strength to continue the journey. Going. Like they're like, there's these songs like they're like, I'm like, oh dude, like I was talking to this Venezuelan dude. I was like, we're like listening to some merengue, and he was like, dude, but like I really like Mexican music. Like there's been Mexican music that along my journey, it's like, damn, I have to keep going. And he was telling the song like El Rey. Con dinero y sin dinero, hago siempre lo que quiero. He's like, dude, that song I find so much resilient. Like it's like yeah, I am that, you know, like I can do this, you know. And I feel that's cool that music break these barriers, you know. And not only like I said earlier, like not only limit yourself to music, you know, like in LA, how many Chicano like dope muralists there are that are represent culture, how many artists, you know, like aquí tenemos like a Chich Marin, you know, like he collected all this artwork, and then, you know, he has this museum putting up the culture, like teaching and opening up spaces for knowledge. And we can just talk about the arts and how it creates so much resilience for all of us, you know.
It's cool because it's like music is so potent in negative and positive ways, just like the violence, the drugs, and corridos, and you know, even like rap that comes from Mexico, or Latino, Chicano rap. Some of it can be very like derogatory, but also a lot of the music that I listen to, like when I'm painting or creating, it's like Natalia Lafourcade. Look at the hummingbird. She's been chilling here.
And she's like listening to
She's listening to our podcast. When I was younger, I was really not in touch or in tune, or even like would call myself a Chicana, because my family is so, I don't want to say whitewashed, but they're just Would you say
You
that?
want to know something funny?
Tell me.
That song of like Snow the Product, like Sábado, like Fiesta en Sábado.
Okay.
And when I heard that song, I was like, damn, that's Eli's tío.
So, yeah, you guys know this song by Snow the Product. She's a Mexican rapper from LA. She has a song called Sábado, and in the song, she's talking about how all the tios and the tias and the family members, how they all talk shit on each other, but we're all here partying, but we're all drinking, but we're all talking shit on each other. Some of us voted for Trump, but we're not gonna say it. It's like a funny song, and it's funny because it's like that kind of reflects my family. So for me to grow up and, you know, I could have easily been like a spirit murderer, but you know,
chose not to.
I chose not to, and I was lucky enough and grateful enough to find people in my path that, you know, is helping me find myself through art and music and through the people that I'm around. Before I was conscious of like who I am as a person and who I want to identify as a Chicana, I was going to like the ska shows and, you know, going to all of these ska shows where they're talking about resistance, or they're singing about resistance, they're moshing about, you know, being proud to be Chicano, being proud to be Mexican, and just like having that unity while we're all like having a good time.
Yeah.
As young kids, it's like before I was even conscious about it, that's where I was.
Those were your roots. Like
yeah.
at the end, that's what, like, the seeds that were planted in you.
So, you know, there's a song, I think I showed it to you, it's called La Pobre Ska, Resistencia.
Yeah.
Resistencia.
Dude, the other day we went to like the protest, like of 2 de Octubre, like that big old protest that I told you of the students, and they were playing that song, and they like did it literally,
Here?
yeah, literally in Zócalo, they did like a huge firebomb under the fucking the flag, and they were like huge firebomb in the middle of Zócalo. They were playing that song, and everybody's like Resistencia. That was
It's so potent, you know.
It is.
So music has definitely been like one of the top things that has helped me identify who I am as a person. Reggae, ska, hip hop, Lauryn Hill, who else? Natalia
Lafourcade.
And what's Las Cafeteras?
Las Cafeteras, Los Cojolites, ¿quién más? Like Snow the Product, I think she's doing a great job.
I thought you didn't like her.
I like her now.
She's always spoke a lot about like politics in her work. Which is that's what I really admired about her, is that she speaks a lot. Like she
uses her platforms to like educate
She's like
people.
that one cousin out of all the cousins that like at the family parties it's like calls everybody out, but like in her music. So I think that's why I like listening to her, because then I'll put it on and I'll feel like that is what I want to tell my family.
But then actually, like, if you see it at like a little bit bigger scale, using her as an example, she's opening up that to educate people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the massive music, like, hey, this is what's going on as well, you know? So I think that's really cool.
You know what songs too that like I don't listen to often, but when I hear them, you're usually playing them, or like Kitty, or they're like Icaros.
That's like a beautiful way of resisting, you know, like Icaros, like it's more
spirit
of the spirit
music.
It's spirit music, you know.
Dude, try working out and listening to Icaros, and you'll be like
Some beautiful songs, and it talks about, a lot of them talk about like how the earth and how your land and how everything has got you, you know, and has protected you, you know. So Icaros are a beautiful way to honor your life, period, you know.
So, our third and last segment, we are going to be speaking on how does language create and affect who we are. There's a quote that I pulled from one of the articles that we read in class that says, "Who is to say that robbing a people of its language is less violent than war?"
Damn.
It's crazy.
That's crazy. And it's like part of your identity, you know, part of who you are. You know, like I was saying earlier, like I'm very blessed that my grandma, and yeah, especially my grandma, she was like so strict about me like always speaking Spanish, you know, and like now I see it like as an adult, that I can have like both languages and speak them as if I was a native, and like speak and write, and it just opens so many doors, you know. And for a long time, like talking about this, like as being a white Mexican or a light-skinned Mexican,
Because I don't look
Mexican, I know.
You look European.
I know.
I like that. because it's cool. Because sorry to cut you off. And I see you code switch because you're really good at that. Like you like speak Spanish, like from Mexico, and then you speak really good English, like, and then when you're in LA, you speak like Chicana Spanish.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, that's like a superpower. Because dude, it's so funny when we're on the fucking metro, and then you're like talking to Jed on. So this is where this, and then like all the people on the metro are like.
And then I turn around like, esta chingadera.
Yeah.
So it is like a superpower because, like, for example, going back to that, like, as being a Mexican that doesn't look like a Mexican living in Mexico, like, I suffered, like, when I was younger, like, a lot of fucking racism. Like, kids wouldn't want to hang out with me because I'm white and stuff like that.
You would think it'd be the opposite.
And you would think it's the opposite, but, like, I remember one time, I was, like, probably, like, 17, 16, and I got on a pasero on a bus in Mexico, and the driver was like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, like, me vas a subir. And he was like, no. And he, like, made me feel so bad. And he said, la gente como tú, like, la gente blanca, like, you're just making fun of us, da 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 da. And, dude, I literally cried and got off the fucking bus.
How old
like,
were you?
I was, like, 16, 17, maybe. It was, like, a long time ago.
That's so cute.
And I would have this, like, for example, I remember when I would go to, like, my Mama Rosita's house. My Mama Rosita was, like, the lady that she raised me. I was, like, really young. I was probably, like, 6 or 7. And we would go to her pueblo. And it was, like, she didn't have beds. So we would sleep on the floor on metates. And I remember, like, I would go and play with the kids. And I would, like, get lodo, like, mud. And I would just, like, get all full of mud. It's, like, so I could be their same color. Yeah, because I was, like, I want to be dark, you know? And then she was like the mom of like Tarzan, that she's like, no, the color's inside of you. She would tell me that all the time.
The mom of Tarzan.
She would tell me that. And
so you had like people in your life that
but I feel that one of the reasons why I love so much the culture, I love so much our roots, the language and everything, is because like of this lady. She really put that in me, you know. And for a long time it was like no me sentía ni de aquí ni de allá. I was like, okay, I'm too Mexican and too loud and too this for the States, but then I'm like too white for them, and I'm, you know. So it was always that until I found that all these tools that my grandma gave me, like, and my Mama Rosita, the language, the love for the culture, to know how to cook, to be humble, to be this. Now in my life as an activist, I feel that I'm a bridge between that. Go in places where they wouldn't let somebody in, and then I just open the doors for everybody to come behind me, you know?
And that's what I've seen since I've known you, is I've seen that how you can do that, and that's what I'm saying. I'm like, it's a superpower. Like for me, nobody really taught me that it was important to speak Spanish. They didn't think it was important. Like I spoke Spanish when I was up until 2, and then I went to school, and then I spoke only English. My parents would talk to me in only Spanish, but I would respond in English, but they would never emphasize like, hey, it's important that you keep speaking Spanish. So when I grow up and I'm like, you know, I am Chicana, I am living the Chicana experience. I'm here in the States, in Southern California. I have family that comes from Mexico, that is from Mexico, that is still in tune with the language. But why is there like this like divide between me and that when it's right there?
Yeah.
You know? So like before my grandma passed away too, she didn't know how to speak any English. So now that I'm older, I'm like, damn, I wish I would have like been able to connect with her more. But I don't know, that's why I think it's dope that you have like 3 different ones that you could code switch from. And that's what made me want to take a Spanish course. And that's why I like when I'm out here. Before, like the first time I was here, I felt uncomfortable trying to learn Spanish still. But why? When I'm with you and Bella, 2 Spanish speakers, you know?
Yeah.
Like there's no reason for me to feel ashamed or embarrassed that I'm not saying something correctly. But that internalized shame made me feel like, like even trying makes me feel stupid. But now the second time around that I'm here, I'm like, oh, I let myself get like fuck up, and I let you guys correct me.
And you know what's really
that's
cool?
When you learn.
That like I see it like we were talking about earlier, how like natives from like Mexico, they don't see it like that anymore. Like before it was like, oh, pinches pochos, like
they like help you now.
Like now they're like no, mija, it doesn't, or they laugh, but they don't do it.
They don't
like,
make fun of you. They're just like, oh.
But before, okay. Like when I used to when I used to be younger, that I would come back and forth from the States when I was like in Miami. I would like say like really like stupid shit, you know, like I would be like, I remember this one time my family came, like my primas came, and we were like having fun. Like I was like probably like 12 or whatever, and we're like jumping on the bed, and my mom comes in and she was like, "Oh my God, stop making so much noise!" Da, 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 da. And then I turn around and I'm like, "Me la estoy pasando bien con mis relativas." I was translating relatives cuando son familiares, güey. Like, so I was just like making it sound like Spanish. And I remember like my family, they call me like la relativa just because of that. They're like, you know.
That nickname, the family nickname. Basically, those were the 3 topics that I wanted to speak on. I'm happy that I was able to do it with you because we already speak on these things anyways, but it's like we're being more like structured about it. We spoke about, what was the first one? Thank you so much. My name is ELIDÉ Sanchez. This is
Nella Suarez.
And this podcast was
Hermanas en Resiliencia.